All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Today is a pivotal moment for all of us. Today, we recognize that people of goodwill can carve out common ground to achieve great things together in unity. We all recognize the trauma that the Palisades community went through and continues to go through. That is why the ability of federal entities, the city, the school district, working together to stabilize condition for particularly the youngest amongst us is of critical importance. I want to thank many people, but let me begin by thanking our mayor, Mayor Karen Bass, for answering the calls, answering the requests, and lifting the obstacles and the red tape for us to be at this point, at this moment right here at Palisades Elementary, ready for the next big step. I also want to thank U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, particularly Colonel Saucer, who has become like a family member to the Palisades community. He is everywhere all the time. We would not be where we are without the Army Corps of Engineers support, and that takes leadership, and the Colonel's leadership has been truly unprecedented. I also want to thank the political body of the school district, mainly board member Nick Melvoin, who represents in a very able way this part of our school district. There are many other people to thank, but there will be other speakers who will be able to do so. Perhaps the most important thank you is to the parents, and you'll be hearing from a parent today. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your resolve. Thank you for your determination and support of your children and your belief in our school district as we pivoted quickly to continue to accommodate the school community. Today, as I said earlier, is a pivotal moment we are celebrating, commemorating the removal of the debris from this area. I was here with board member Nick Melvoin as the fire was still raging, and we saw the destruction of 3 schools here in the Palisades. This school was destroyed 70%. Marquez Elementary completely destroyed, and Pali High about 30% destroyed. 3 important points. Number one, this board has already committed the $600+ million to fully rebuild these 3 schools. Secondly, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Colonel. There was a commitment to prioritize the debris removal from these schools. It has been done. In fact, this was the last school to have its debris removed. It happened this week. Next, not only do we have the funding, the debris has been removed. We are in the process of contracting architects and engineers for the rebuild. We will have ongoing soil and environmental testing of the soil, but also of the existing facility. And we've already taken steps to drop portable classrooms on one side here in the Palisades to accommodate as soon as possible, but no sooner than the community wishes for it to happen, to bring back students to the Palisades after all of the environmental concerns have been addressed. We will rebuild better and stronger with the partnership of this mayor and the support of federal entities. With that said, let me introduce our valiant fighter and leader, a dear friend, and the great mayor of the city of Los Angeles, Mayor Karen Bass.
Thank you. Thank you, Superintendent. Thank you, first of all, for your outstanding leadership of LA Unified. In a few short days, it'll be 3 months since this school was destroyed and the devastation of the largest natural disaster in our city's recent history. I have felt that it is so important for Palisades to rebuild fast as possible and to rebuild better. When I think of the destruction that happened here at this school, I think of the trauma that the children faced, many of whom not only lost their classroom and their friendships, but also their homes. And the way to address that trauma is to get them back in their classrooms as soon as possible. Under the leadership of our school district, Superintendent Carvalho, he made sure that the young people, knowing it would take time for the school to be rebuilt, were able to have a seat in other schools as quick as possible so that their education was not interrupted. The schools that were impacted, Palisades Charter High, Marquez, where we are, Palisades Charter Elementary. And our priority, first and foremost, in the rebuilding is to make sure that this area where there are schools and nearby where there is the rec center, the library, and the playground, that sense of community is prioritized. Under normal circumstances, it wouldn't be. But we were able to, one, sign executive orders to fast track the rebuilding and the debris removal, talking to the Army Corps of Engineers and the incredible leadership from the Army Corps of Engineers. When we look at fires that happened in other communities, they weren't at this stage for many, many months. For example, water and power was restored here in the Palisades in less than 2 months. In the Camp Fire, it took 18 months. Phase 1 of the debris removal process finished in 28 days. In other fires, it took months. We are absolutely committed to making sure that Palisades is rebuilt as fast as possible. And with leaders like Superintendent Carvalho, with board members like Nick Melvoin, we will make sure that we get this job done. I think about the parent that you will hear from shortly, John Brown, and the trauma that his young children went through. I don't think enough has been said about the impact of this devastation on the children in our city, and we need to always keep them in mind because this is a trauma that will live with them for many, many years. I'd like to introduce our excellent board member, Nick Melvoin, to talk about his experience being here while the school was destroyed.
Thank you, Mayor Bass, for your incredible partnership to get us to this important milestone. Thanks to the city. I know she couldn't make it, but I also want to thank Councilwoman Tracy Park, who's been an incredible ally in this effort. Thanks to the superintendent, who quite literally has been with us and been with the Palisades community every step of this way, bringing to the board the requisite funding for the rebuild, as you heard, but quite literally being here. As he said, we were here the morning of January 8th as the school was still on fire. We were at Pali Charter High School. We were at Marquez High School. We then drove into the Alphabet Streets with my district director and friend to see her home destroyed. We were with parents like John, who also lost homes and their school. And as devastating as that week was and as the months following have been, what we will remember about this disaster is the resilience of the Palisades community. And folks like Allison and parents like John, that first morning, we're asking, what are we going to do about the children? What are we going to do about our students? How do we get them back? How do we support them? And that's why within a week, this school community, the parents, the students, their teachers, their principal were moved just a few miles away. And then we started working immediately on getting to this day. And we could not have done that without the partnership of the city and the Army Corps of Engineers, who prioritize our schools as our civic cathedrals, you know, as the milestones, as the key points of a community. And I just want to say, we've also worked with the city and the Army Corps to prioritize the half-mile area surrounding our schools, as we know it's important to parents that when they think about returning here in the months and years to come, that their children have a sense of normalcy. And so we're asking for your help as well. If you're a homeowner within one of those half-mile areas and you have not turned in your right of entry form, please work with the city and with the Army Corps to get that done. We also, the Army Corps does not control the commercial property. Here at Pali Elementary, we have businesses nearby, and so we're asking for their help as well, so that while this work is done, we can prioritize that half-mile radius. And so when kids come back again in the months to come, they feel a sense of normalcy as they're back on their campuses. We're also then going to that next phase and working with you all to rebuild, as the superintendent said, build back better, not just for the 5 or 10 years, but for the 50 or 100. And starting actually on Wednesday evening, the school district will be convening a series of town halls for the greater Palisades community on what you want to see in your schools for the next decades to come. So we hope you'll join us on that journey. Before I introduce Colonel Saucer, I need to thank him. I need to thank the LA Unified Facilities team as well. But we're at a moment right now where there is an unprecedented assault on our public servants, particularly our federal employees, people who have dedicated their lives to serving our fellow citizens. And if you spend time in the Palisades, as I have, as the superintendent has, as the mayor has, you will see that the work of the Army Corps, not just the physical work and the contractors they're working with, but also their grace, their compassion, the way that they have embedded themselves as part of this community, represents the best of this country and the best of who we are as a people. And so thank you, Colonel Saucer, for all that you're doing. We're so grateful. And with that, I'll introduce Colonel Brian Saucer of the Army Corps of Engineers.
Well, Mr. Melvoin, thank you very much for those kind words. I'd just like to say, I mean, today truly is a fine day. The Corps is absolutely honored to be a part of this mission in this important recovery process with the great city of Los Angeles, LA Unified, and I think most importantly, the community members that were affected by this natural disaster and this devastation. I'd also like to recognize CTI behind me. This is the great firm that performed the work here at the school. This is a small business here locally out of Los Angeles, Long Beach. They performed the work ahead of schedule to standard, and we certainly salute them for their great efforts. I would tell you that, and we talk about this all the time in the Corps, we are guests here in Southern California, and we cannot do this mission without partnerships. City of Los Angeles has been fantastic. I appreciate that, Mayor. LA Unified School District, Mr. Superintendent, fantastic support in that partnership. And then, as I alluded to earlier, it's really all about the communities and partnering with them. And they have been an absolute force in helping us move through this process and perform our mission as quickly as possible. And on that point, I will tell you today, it's great to pause and celebrate. And while we in the Corps are incredibly pleased with where we're at, we are not satisfied. We know every day we're looking ways to move faster, be more efficient, perform this mission safely and to standard. And to that effect, that we know that we're going to be able to get faster. And so it's been a great cumulative effort, but we got more work to do, and we look forward to doing that. Thank you very much. I will be followed by my good friend, Mr. John Brown.
Thank you. Thanks, Colonel Saucer. Hi, everybody. John Brown. It's Jon. And maybe it'll say dad or Palisades dad or father underneath that title on the screen. I think I moved to LA from New York for that to say like famous actor or something. So, but I'll say that, you know, in my life, the thing I'm most proud of is that title, right? And I'm here as a dad just representing all of the other parents that lost homes and were parents here at Pali Elementary, you know, the families at Marquez and at Pali High. I'm so proud of being a dad. I can tell you that when the town burned down and I evacuated my kids from the school that day, you know, I had a kindergartner here, and, you know, we did not anticipate that that'd be the last time he'd see his classroom. We're now here where it's cleaned, and, you know, the work that all these people are doing here, you know, I could name each one of them. Colonel Saucer has been absolutely incredible. What they're doing and their relentlessness, like, you know, there's a moment here that we're taking to appreciate it, but I know from the conversations I've had with him that these guys are just ready to get this town looking better than it did the day of the fires. And so I'm so grateful to that effort and the drive forward and all the collaboration that's happening. And I just want to say, you know, for me, and I think, like, I just want to remember that these weren't just the buildings that burned down, right? Behind those walls, inside those classrooms, there were hundreds of kids smiling faces, teachers and faculty that like all they did was wake up early in the morning. The parents, wake up in the morning. Our kids don't want to go to school. They don't want to eat their breakfast. They don't want to get in the car. They don't want to get dressed. They did that an hour ago for me, but we still show up for them, and they want to learn, and they show up eager to learn, and we're going to give them a place to learn again. And I just want to say that my true heroes, these guys are amazing, but my heroes aren't here today. They're my wife, Michelle, who's just this amazing mom, along with all the other moms and parents out there, and my daughter, Jackie, and son, Bennett, are just my heroes. I'm watching them show up every day and persevere through all of this, and I love everybody out there that has been contributing to the solution, and I'm just grateful to be a part of this community. I think it's amazing what we're doing and coming together, so thanks for letting me be here to represent all these parents. Thanks, guys.
Should we do
Yes.
Spanish?
Oh, yes, I think yes, please.
Unas palabras en español, si ustedes quieren. Sí. Buenos días. Me siento muy honrado estar aquí acompañado por nuestra alcaldesa, la señora Bass, también nuestro miembro de la Junta Escolar, el señor Nick Melvoin, y quizás la persona más importante porque esta persona ha tenido un impacto muy grande, muy positivo aquí en nuestra comunidad después de la destrucción aquí en las Palisades debido a los incendios, el coronel Saucer. Estamos conmemorando, celebrando la eliminación de los escombros de las 3 escuelas localizadas aquí en Palisades. Es un hecho muy importante porque la ciudad, bajo el liderazgo de nuestra alcaldesa y el gran labor de el coronel Saucer, han priorizado nuestras escuelas para remover los escombros, para empezar el proceso de reconstrucción. La Junta Escolar ha aprobado los fondos necesarios, más de $600 millones para reconstruir los 3 planteles escolares. Esa es una promesa fundamental para nuestra comunidad. También ya empezamos el proceso de arquitectura y ingeniería para reconstruir los 3 planteles escolares. Nos sentimos muy agradecidos también a nuestra comunidad. Ustedes escucharon las palabras de un padre de familia que tenía su familia aquí, sus hijos aquí en esta escuela. Nosotros conseguimos trasladar toda la población estudiantil de esta escuela a otras escuelas días después de los incendios para mantener un senso de comunidad para nuestros estudiantes. Nuestra promesa es que vamos a reconstruir los planteles escolares de una forma segura, pero rápida. Vamos a reconstruir mejor y de una forma más fuerte para garantizar un futuro saludable, un futuro fuerte para nuestros estudiantes. Muchas gracias.
¿Se sabe cuántos niños perdieron tanto sus aulas como sus casas, sus techos de estas 3 escuelas que están a cargo de...
Alrededor de un 70% de los niños que asistieran a las 3 escuelas perdieran sus hogares, en un gran porcentaje. Y es por eso que decidimos muy rápidamente estabilizar las condiciones de aprendizaje para mantener un senso de comunidad para nuestros niños y sus familias.
Mayor Bass regarding the half-mile clearing. Most people have signed up, opted to try to get the clearing. Now, in a soils report, it's going to cost $6,000 plus another $1,400 for the city for soil survey. The Army Corps has taken out 6 inches. Why not that be waived for all the residents who want to know?
Why can what not be right?
Permit fees for soil surveys by the
Okay. So you should know that we are examining now all of the various fees to see which ones can be waived and not. Some of them are actually in law. And so I would like to waive as much as possible, but we might not be able to do that. We're trying to examine that right now. Sure.
First, can you break down that $600 million in funding from the district? And is that specifically for these three schools? Where is that funding coming from? Is that local, federal, or mixed?
So very good question. So the $600 million that have been allocated are for the three sites, but include environmental inspection, mitigation, additional soil removal, and then obviously the architectural work, engineering work, and the actual construction work. About $150 million per elementary school, and then the remainder for the high school, much larger project, even though the scope of destruction was, in terms of percentage, less than these two elementary schools. In addition to environmental investments, such as the furniture and the air purifiers for all classrooms. So very massive, comprehensive amount of work that lies ahead. We were blessed with having had a general obligation bond approved in November, a $9 billion bond. Could not have come at a better time. So number one, we are first utilizing those dollars, utilizing also about $50 million of insurance coverage, but then we will be seeking reimbursement from the federal government through FEMA. That will take some time. We did not want to have to wait until those revenues from the federal entities would arrive here to begin the reconstruction process. So we're going to front load the financial liability with our own dollars approved by the people of the good city of Los Angeles, and then seek the reimbursement from the federal government. Right.
Is $600 million still going to suffice? Are there new concerns in this new week?
So let me begin with the last part of your question. We have built a cushion that accounts for some degree of cost escalation, even before the announcement of the tariffs. Los Angeles is a great place to live and work, but cost escalation has been an issue, particularly since the pandemic. We have observed cost escalation specific to the construction industry to exceed actually around 30%. That is due to continue to escalate now in light of the imposition of these tariffs, cost of steel, cost of concrete, leading that cost escalation. But we do have a cushion to provide for that level of cost escalation. And should we need additional resources, we do have the means to access Measure US bond revenues, understanding that then we will seek reimbursement from the federal government. Let me speak about that process. I think it would be the understatement of the decade if we said that we have concerns about the expediency of federal support, not only here in California, but across the country. We have seen, as it was stated earlier, some degree of threat against public institutions. No doubt some degree of delay in terms of the reaction to the funding necessary for the rebuilding process. And we hope that the issue of rebuilding the Palisades, or any part of our country impacted by fires, natural disasters, storms, hurricanes, or the like, we certainly hope that that will not politicized. We certainly hope that there is no weaponization of disasters for political benefit. Shame, shame on anyone who would do so. And we're going to hold people accountable for delivering on the promise of fully rebuilding these communities. California, Los Angeles should be treated exactly the same way as any city, any state across the country that has recently been impacted by fires or storms. Our people deserve that level of support. In fact, a number of us were in Washington, D.C. just last week speaking with members of Congress and members of the administration to ensure that, in fact, the federal government lives up to its promise of stabilizing communities in the aftermath of incredible destruction. Sure. So thank you for the question. Phase one was stabilizing the current conditions of kids as soon as possible. And within a few days of the fires, the entire communities of Palisades Elementary, Marquez Elementary, were moved as a full entity into 2 local schools. As soon as we did that, we began conversations with the community. Board member Nick Malvoin, myself, Colonel Saucer have attended a number of town hall meetings. So takeaway number one, we are not going to make a single decision without aggressive consultation with the parents. 2, we have already began communicating with the impacted communities about the different options. So we recently had a town hall meeting with the Marquez community, and the Marquez community, as well as the Palisades Elementary community, have concerns about environmental conditions currently in this area. So we are ready to deploy the portables, and I can tell you that we will have anywhere between 16 and 20 portable classrooms, in addition to a mobile kitchen and facilities, as well as green space for the beginning of the next school year. So the beginning of the 25-26 school year, that site will be ready, and that will be at the Marquez site, able to welcome kids back. What I cannot tell you is that kids will in fact return at that point. That requires an in-depth conversation with the community. Parents continue to have concerns, obviously, about air quality, about soil conditions. We're going to embrace and engage in a very aggressive soil inspection, facility inspection, environmental inspection prior to doing anything. But will we be ready? Absolutely. The portables will be there, but we will require the consent and the agreement of the community to bring back their children alongside extensive environmental testing and mitigation.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll say for my son, who's 6 years old, I would give him that decision about as much as like how much candy or ice cream do you want to eat. So, but I could say on behalf of the community, I'm in very deep conversations, there's a million WhatsApp chats and all that stuff, that there's a mix of like, is being said, environmental concerns, just logistical concerns too, right? We have, like I was speaking earlier with the group here, that, like I'm in Mar Vista. We've been, as an entity of Pali Elementary here, we've been moved over to Brentwood Magnet, which has been, frankly, it's been incredible. It's been an amazing experience. The fires burned on Tuesday. These fires were still burning on Thursday and Friday, and our kids were in school on Monday in their classroom with their teachers, with their classmates. I mean, it's been an incredible effort. So, we're content there, whereas Marquez, there's a different sentiment, for various reasons. And then also, families live in all different places right now. We're all scattered, we're all displaced. If these were to come back as portables here, let's say, then we're now commuting from Mar Vista into here because our home isn't built yet. So there's so many conversations, and we have been great. We've had town hall meetings where, we've been able to talk to all the, community leaders and government officials. And so it does seem like this is an ongoing conversation because we just don't really know exactly what everybody wants, and we're trying to all work. And maybe it'll end up being a hybrid where some kids stay at Brentwood Magnet, some kids come to portables here. It sounds like what's being said, though, is that everybody is working so diligently to give us even more options than we already have. So I'm super, again, grateful for that. And yeah, I think that's it.